Uh-oh, Arsenal. I mean, the walls are closing. Have they closed in already? I mean, you tell me. Are City really going to fumble this at this point? We'll see. But anyway, hello and welcome to another weekend recap, everyone. And congrats to the Barca supporters out there as well, who have secured their first LaLiga title since 2019. So, hey, let's get into this. Clearly, there's a lot to talk about. Sam Allardyce? No, Sam Allardyce, as he said. As he and Leeds United invited Newcastle United to Ellen Road, and they had quite the wild match. 2-2 was the final. We saw 3 penalties and maybe should have seen a 4th. There was a red card for Firpo near the conclusion of the match, and a pitch invader who confronted Eddie Howe and will receive a lifetime ban from the stadium. It was a wild Saturday afternoon and leaves Leeds in an awkward spot in the relegation battle. Speaking of, Nottingham Forest went to Stamford Bridge in need of points, and thankfully for them, Chelsea didn't make it 2 wins in a row. This one pitted Raheem Sterling up against Taiwo Awoniyi on the scoring charts, with each grabbing a brace in their team's 2-2 draws. Edouard Mendy didn't exactly cover himself in glory in this performance, as he didn't manage to make a single save. And the first goal, he was caught in no man's land as he charged out to grab a cross, but was beaten to it by the towering Awoniyi. Sterling's goals were 2 nice finishes, the second especially, while Awoniyi went unmarked at the back post to nod one past Mendy. 2-2 the final. Crystal Palace beat Bournemouth 2-0 as they have managed to get 2 wins in 3 now. Well, Bournemouth went on a nice run of form previously, but since that Chelsea loss, they followed it up with another one. And talking of losing twice in a row, United avoided making it 3 losses in a row as they hosted Wolves, a side that has been a pain in the ass under Lopetegui. After Antony missed 2 great opportunities in the first half, but he later made up for it with a lovely assist to Anthony Martial, his first goal in over a month. United were much better in this one, especially going forward, and they were aided at the back by the return of Rafael Varane, of course. And finally, despite Antony looking dangerous, just simmering all match, coming close and forcing saves out of Dan Bentley, who had a great match, it would be Alejandro Garnacho to double United's lead with a great run through the heart of the Wolves defense and a nice finish off the near post. Great return from the young fella, 2-0 the final for United. Fulham also beat Southampton 2-0 with goals from Vinicius and Mitrovic, and that 2-0 loss actually officially relegates Southampton. Man, hate to see them go. No? They've been around for 11 years now. They were comfortable. I feel like they will be bouncing back fairly quickly though. They feel like a one and done in the championship kind of team, but they do have some issues to overcome. They got to settle on a squad and a manager. It's not quite a given for them to come right back up. Man City versus Everton. This one took a while to get going, but once it did, of course it was City who took control of the game, and thanks once again to the brilliant, almost underrated Ilkay Gundogan. What an opener he scored, showing great control and composure to take the ball down on his knee, swivel, and hit an inventive backwards volley, if you want to call it that, into the goal. Superb stuff, and well worked from City as well. Then later, with just his second or third touch, Erling Haaland converted a header, some nice hang time there. And in the second half, the brilliance from Gundogan continued with a lovely chipped free kick into the top corner, out of reach for Pickford. Unsurprising, really. I mean, despite Everton really impressing with that random drubbing of Brighton earlier in the week, Everton not out of the woods yet by any means when it comes to survival. Again, 2 seasons in a row. Also, Brentford got a nice victory over West Ham as Mbuema and Wissa got the goals for Thomas Frank's side. And speaking of Brighton, they visited Arsenal this weekend and they did Manchester City a huge favor. I mean, let's be real, City didn't need any favors from Brighton in order to clinch the title, and they are where they are now thanks to themselves only. But Brighton went ahead and did them a solid regardless. Brighton, they took that loss to Everton quite personally, and just as he did against a fellow London side in Chelsea, Julio and Ciso also scored against Arsenal. They had to weather a storm prior to that goal as Arsenal were close to scoring in the first half, but a crossbar and a miss from Saka was all that they could muster. But yeah, that Enciso goal, nothing like a strike against Chelsea, just some abject defending from Arsenal, leaving him alone for a free header. Then there was Under's goal, which was a gift from Ramsdale and Trossard, double agent Trossard. And the third, Ramsdale letting a huge rebound off, and nobody was there to clean up except for Pervis Estupiñán. Bit of blame on Ramsdale, bit of blame on the defenders as well. And in doing so, they have essentially given the title to City. Well, I mean, their performances in the last weeks have allowed City's good performances to take them to first, fully deserving. But make no mistake, this was a bit of a failure on Arsenal's part. They've shown a ton to get to where they are, but they had the lead, like I said a few weeks ago, and I do not envy anyone who is actually getting chased by Pep Guardiola's side. All they need now is 3 points from 3 matches. At the bottom, well, this is the real race to watch as it could go in any direction. Leeds, Everton, Forest, Leicester. We'll see who ends up getting relegated. We'll see. We will definitely take a look at the relegation side of things, as this weekend Torino handed Hellas Verona a potential death blow. Torino beat Verona 1-0 in Verona, which means that they will indeed have a very, very scary race coming up against Spezia and Lecce for survival. Lecce, for their part, got a massive 2-2 draw against Lazio, and Lazio themselves have had quite the downturn of form lately. For a while, Maurizio Sarri's side were playing some lovely Sarri ball and getting the results to back those performances up, but with the draw this weekend, they've been on a run of 5 matches where they have won just once, drawn once, and lost 3 times. That said, top 4 is still in their own hands. It's still in their control. Atalanta have also had a little bit of trouble in their last 2 matches, as this weekend they fell to Salernitana 1-0 in Salerno. Pretty evenly matched, entertaining game, to be honest. I enjoyed this one. Ochoa is really making a statement since joining Salernitana, and his links to other top teams in Italy are completely justified, given his performances since signing with Salernitana in January. Well, officially in December, but you get what I mean. His contract is up in June, but Salernitana will do everything they can to keep him, you would expect. Since the end of February, Salernitana have lost just once, last week against Empoli. Ochoa has been a mainstay in that stretch. One of the teams interested in him, actually, AC Milan. Their poor form continued this weekend as they fell 2-0 away to relegation and battled Spezia of all teams. Wisniewski and Esposito getting 2 goals late to hand Milan the death blow. And the interesting thing is, Mike Mignan didn't make a single save in this game until the 68th minute. But for their part, Milan's attack offered next to nothing as far as dangerous attacks through much of this game, I'd say. Origi looks a bit better as a winger than he does centrally, and he tried to be effective down the left, but there's still a Rafael Leão-sized hole on that left flank. A 2-0 loss for Milan. They got a talking to from their ultras after the match, which was kind of funny to see. Looks like some naughty schoolboys getting told off by the teacher. Inter Milan continued their great form, however, as they hosted Sassuolo at the San Siro, and the Lalu was off to the races. Lukaku with the opener in the first half, Berardi with a goal that was disallowed also in the first half. But yes, Lukaku with the opener, it was doubled with an own goal from Ruan. And once Lautaro came on the pitch at halftime for Correa, who again was fairly ineffectual, well, Lautaro scored 12 minutes after coming on. There you have it. A bit of a scare as Sassuolo brought it back to 3-2 and things looked touch and go for a moment for Inter, but a late goal from Lukaku sealed it at 4-2. Shout out Lukaku. He's been in great form lately. He's really playing for that loan to Inter. Did you see how he was carrying and protecting the ball against AC Milan in the Champions League as well? He's been good, man. 4-2 Inter. Napoli did a fair bit of rotating to give the rest of the squad some appearances, and they suffered against Monza. Another loss. Great performances lately for Monza, who saw former Napoli player Patania score. But yeah, Monza's form, they have recently beat Inter, Fiorentina, they drew with Roma and Torino, and now they have defeated Napoli as well. Very nice from them, really. Bologna and Roma played out a 0-0 draw. Man, Bologna have become, they've evolved into a very tricky customer this season, haven't they? And we saw Paul Pogba get the start for Juve against Cremonese, and they got 24 minutes out of him. Yes, another injury for Pogba, which isn't even, like, what do I even say at this point? He has played for 161 minutes in total this season. The man seems like he's cursed. I feel for him. But anyway, Juve did indeed get the victory. Nicolo Fagioli with the opener in the second half, Bremer with the other to double their lead, his 4th of the season actually. And that win ensured that Juve have a 3-point lead over 3rd placed Inter, while Lazio have AC Milan lurking in the shadows for that 4th spot. At the bottom, Cremonese still could technically escape with 3 matches to go, while Sampdoria, they're already gone. A very heavily rotated Real Madrid side was able to overcome Getafe, who recently re-signed Jose Bordalás as manager. With Asensio starting in the attack for Real with Eden Hazard, it was of course the Spaniard who got the goal for Real Madrid. I say of course, given his great form this season that I've been talking about. And Lucas Vazquez, Lord Vazquez, got the assist as he did a decent job once again at right back. Also, shout out Tchouaméni, who was fantastic in this match. A bit of a scare as Camavinga, who played in the midfield this time, went off injured. Apparently it's just a slight sprain of the knee, and he will be okay for the Man City match during the week. Villarreal and their roller coaster of a manager, Quique Setién, got a big victory this weekend, 5-1 over Athletic Club, which extended Villarreal's latest unbeaten run to 4 matches consecutively, 3 of which were wins. The star of the show for me, Nicholas Jackson, who scored his 8th and 9th goals of the season for Villarreal from 22 La Liga appearances. However, 7 of those 9 goals have been scored in his previous 7 appearances for Villarreal, so it feels like we got a rising star on our hands, perhaps. Keep an eye out for the 21-year-old Gambian-born Senegalese striker. Osasuna got over the disappointment of losing the Copa del Rey final last weekend by getting a convincing 3-1 victory over Almeria. That's more like it. Aimar Oraz was pulling the strings nicely for Osasuna as he got 2 assists on the day to take his tally up to 5 for the season for the academy graduate. For Almeria, they only scored in the dying embers of the game once they were already 3-0 down, you know? Consolation stuff. Mallorca got a very important victory over Cadiz, which put some good distance between themselves and the drop zone. I thought they may have gone down, but hey, the job isn't complete yet, but they're just a couple of points away, you'd think, with 4 matches remaining. For Valencia, however, they were able to also get a big victory, which could really help their survival bid this season, but they aren't out of the woods either, to use that term again. Playing away to Celta, Kluivert opened the scoring in just the 8th minute, but in the second half, Seferovic converted an equalizer from a nice Fran Beltran assist. Then, Alberto Mari, in just his 3rd La Liga appearance for Valencia, was able to head in a late winner for the historic side and bring them up to 37 points. And with 4 matches remaining, they are 3 points above Getafe. Real Sociedad took an early 2-0 lead against Girona at home after just 24 minutes, but before the first half was up, Girona had brought themselves back level. They are a headache, aren't they, this Girona side? Great scrap in this one, but it ends odds even at 2-2. Sevilla got a great win over Real Valladolid, playing away at the Purple Palace. Things were looking a little bit sketchy for Sevilla in the winter, but they are indeed safe and will likely just finish mid-table, but there's still a chance for them to get a European place. Hey, if they win the Europa League, they're good to go. And speaking of the table, we now know that with 4 matches remaining, only 1 team will stay in first place. The rest is all liable to change, and that is not Atletico Madrid, who fell to 20th place Elche this weekend. It's not Real Madrid, who are 14 points behind the leaders. It's Barcelona, and for them, they marked the occasion of clinching their first La Liga title in 4 years in a very fun fashion, away to their Barcelona rivals Espanyol. One-sided rivalry a little bit when it comes to the competitive aspect, but hey, a rivalry all the same. But yes, Xavi deserves a ton of credit for this season, clinching the title with 4 matches remaining. Very impressive, honestly, for all of the failures in Europe and the drubbing in the Copa del Rey second legs of the semifinal. One step at a time for Barca in the silverware, and instilling a winning habit is what's needed at this club that is resetting itself, essentially. Still a lot of work to be done financially, but hey, this is a big step for them in the right direction. Oh, and the scorers on the day that they clinched their 27th title: Lewandowski with a brace, Balde with 1, and Koundé with the other. So yes, Barcelona are champions at the top of the table, while Atletico spurned a pretty easy opportunity to pass Real Madrid into second. They lost to a team that's already relegated. Not that you get anything more from second to third. Real Madrid won't really care, really. But anyway, at the bottom, you can see Elche down there with 19 points, Valladolid and Cadiz with their heads just above water. But as you can see, from 20th all the way to 13th, things could yet change. My friends, there was almost no defending in Germany this weekend. I mean, you guys will see from the scores and standings when we go over them, but holy man, goals galore on Saturday. There was an average of 5.2 goals per game. That's crazy. Bayern were helpful in bringing that average up as they hosted Schalke, who have improved on their form lately, but Bayern seemingly found their scoring touch as well. So they slapped no less than 6 goals past Schwolo in goal. No, what's wild? Schwolo, despite conceding 6, still made 7 saves, as his center backs provided him absolutely no help whatsoever. They were playing dodgeball, I think, his center backs. Mazraoui scored for Bayern, as did Kimmich from the spot. Müller, Gnabry with a brace, and Matthijs Tell came off of the bench to score. With all of the talk of recruiting a striker, some still want to see young Tell get a chance at it. He only turned 18 at the end of April. Big responsibility. Hey, we'll see. Union Berlin got a 4-2 victory over Freiburg, which was quite the top 4 battle, as both sides were on 56 points going into their clash. Geraldo Becker was a menace in this one. What a performance. 2 goals, 2 assists. He was involved in every single goal that Union scored on the day. Despite getting a positive result last weekend, Hertha Berlin went right back to losing this weekend as they fell 5-2 to the fantastic Köln. Köln have been so good since the March international break, with 4 wins, 2 draws, and a single loss, which came against Freiburg. And remember, these fellas beat Leverkusen last weekend as well. Also, this was a character win as they went ahead 1-0, fell behind 2-1, but went ahead 3-2 again before the first half was over. 2 more in the second half made for a big 5-2 victory for their supporters. Wolfsburg beat Hoffenheim just 2-1? 2-1? That's it, guys? Come on. You fell behind all of your peers when it comes to goals per game. Just 3 in this one. Come on. I'm joking, of course. Eintracht Frankfurt did their part with a 3-0 win over Mainz. But come on, guys. I'm joking. That's a good victory for them as they have been struggling a bit of late, and Mainz is a strong side. Glasner, of course, will be leaving Eintracht Frankfurt at the end of the season. Will he be a top candidate for Tottenham, perhaps? Now that a few managers have pulled out of that race for consideration. We'll see. Race for consideration. Nice one, Adrian. Bochum and Augsburg played out a 5-goal thriller, of which the host Bochum got the 3-2 win. Borussia Dortmund hosted Borussia Mönchengladbach. And what a first half, man. Daniel Malen continuing with the fantastic performances as he scored the opener after just 5 minutes, and then later set up Sebastian Haller twice before the half was done. A Jude Bellingham penalty was sandwiched in there as well in that exciting first half. Gladbach struck back, scoring twice in the latter stages of this one, but Gio Reyna, Mr. Super Sub, came off the bench to score yet again late on. But yeah, big shout out to Daniel Malen as his form has been superb. In his previous 7 Bundesliga matches, he has scored 7 and assisted 3 times. That is big numbers. And Stuttgart and Leverkusen held each other to a 1-1 draw, while Leipzig beat Bremen to ensure that, as you can see, they stay ahead of Union Berlin for another match day at the minimum, and there's 2 match days to go. Bayern hold on to that 1-point lead over Dortmund, and at the bottom, we're going to have quite the race. Gladbach are safe, but going as high as Bremen, things could all get shuffled around, man. All right, we're all done here. Like I said in the intro, no watch along for the Milan derby on Tuesday, but we will do one for City versus Real on Wednesday. Okay? And of course, I don't think I actually mentioned that in the intro, so now you have that info now. But yeah, on Friday, we'll have Roots of the Rivalry. Okay, guys? Love ya. Ciao.